It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
It's Movie Time is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.com.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Judy Hoffman.
And this is It's Movie Time. Now, Judy, help me out. Clint Eastwood, a musical, Jersey Boys? How can that be?
Just what I was wondering myself, John. When you told me a couple of weeks ago that Clint Eastwood would be directing Jersey Boys, I was quite taken aback by that and wondered that myself. I'm not sure he was the right person to be directing this in the end. I don't often say this about a film, but I found it to be both entertaining and disappointing.
Okay.
When you told me Clint Eastwood was going to be directing, the first thing that popped into my mind was the music of the Four Seasons is upbeat, toe-tapping, rousing, passionate. And most of my favorite Clint Eastwood films have been downbeat, to say the least.
And he's composed much of the music for his films. He has directed Bird, which was basically, along his line, jazz. He did sing in Paint Your Wake.
Oh, I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me.
I know, but he's a music guy. But I'm with you. He's really a jazz guy, and pop music with the Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Okay, let's see how he can do it. He's a talented director.
He is.
And so, what is entertaining for you in this?
Entertainment for me probably was, for the most part, was the script, which was written by Marshall Brickman, co-written by Marshall Brickman, and Rick Ellis, I believe it was.
Sure. Now, Brickman is
famous for Annie Hall. Co-writing great lines with Woody Allen. And so a lot of the film was amusing. There were some good one-liners in there, and I was surprised to find myself laughing so much. However, that in a way, the comedy, I think, did the film a disservice. And that might not be Eastwood's problem. That was probably the script's problem. But because even the crime scenes were written as comedic crime scenes, almost tongue-in-cheek, I never felt a real connection
well, listen, Judy,
to the mob.
Judy, how could you not capitalize on Christopher Walken as Gyp DeCarlo? I thought he completely underplayed it. Now I realize the problem with Walken is that he's always a parody of himself now.
Yes, he is.
And so underplaying it, I was a little taken back. I said, he's playing a mafia don, and that one of the tensions in the film and in the life of Frankie Valli and the Jersey Boys is that they're tied to the mob. And they begin with minor robberies, perhaps a little too much of that for me, but anyway, yes, that brings a tension in their life that builds as they get more and more connected. And when Tommy DeVito gets caught up in loan sharks and so on, you get some good action.
Tommy DeVito being head of this group.
Yes.
Yes, actually, I didn't feel any tension building up, and I think it was because the crime scenes were comedic. I didn't think really too much bad was going to happen to these people, especially since Frankie Valli got let off so many times as being a kid and with a good voice, so let's not punish him.
Right, the cops would say, aren't you supposed to be in by 11?
Yeah.
More than one time.
Go home, kid.
It's all family, it's Jersey. So, yes, you're right. That kind of mitigates what would be the more terrible aspects of their lives.
Does.
Surely the performance by John, let me get this, I'll get it, Judy. Surely the performance by John Lloyd Young as Frankie Valli, from my point of view, is superb.
He did do a very good job.
Wow.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I felt like I was seeing Frankie Valli.
Wow, with that falsetto voice, which of course is the characteristic of that group of the Four Seasons. Terrific. And the Vincent Piazza playing Tommy DeVito.
Yes, excellent.
The only one who wasn't originally on stage.
That's right.
But he's a TV actor, as I understand.
Oh, I had not heard of him before.
Yeah. maybe Boardwalk, something like that.
Boardwalk Empire, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's right. So anyway, you've got some excellent acting going on. You have the songs. I mean, Judy, the songs. When they start with Sherry and they go through what's so Big Girls Don't Cry, Walk Like a Man, and just, you've got 20 more.
But John, we didn't get to hear a song for the entire first hour of the film, and that's what we came for. That's what I came for, was to hear the Four Seasons song.
And Judy, that is a major complaint of mine.
Is it?
This is not really a musical movie.
I agree.
And boy, did we get cheated in that first hour.
We got cheated, and then even when they did performances, they didn't do the entire numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes.
And the songs that had the most energy in that film were the ones by the real Four Seasons over the ending credits.
Okay. Oh, yes. And you want to make sure that you stay for that ending.
Definitely stay for the ending, because there was a clear distinction between the energy of those songs. I knew immediately it was the real Four Seasons, and the energy of the songs in the film.
Yeah. And you do learn things about their lives that you might not have known before. I mean, someone just asked me the other day, did Frankie write his songs? No, he didn't.
No, that was Bob.
Yeah. And
Band member Bob.
Yeah.
Two Bobs.
Yeah. And he kind of took over the band in the sense that he took it from nothing to something great by creating songs that fit Valley's voice.
Exactly.
And perfectly, and stayed with them and helped them through. And I think the central conflict for them is the fact that Tommy has incurred very large debt, and Frankie has committed the band to easing those debts.
That's true, but you've touched upon one of my major flaws for the movie, and that's lack of character development. And I just never got invested in these characters emotionally whatsoever. I didn't end up caring all that much what happened to them. For example, when Frankie Valli decides to bail out Tommy of his debt, I wondered why. Well, you do hear why to some.
Sure,
you do hear a reason.
It's the code of honor.
The code of honor, the debt he owes Tommy for
Tommy
bringing him out of the
streets,
neighborhood.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
But I wondered why songwriter and band member, brilliant songwriter, band member Bob Gaudio, is that how you pronounce it? Bob Gaudio.
Right.
Was equally willing to take out that debt. Why? I wondered mostly through the movie why Bob Gaudio was even in the band or staying in that band, because he had a different kind of upbringing. He kind of looked to me like a white Anglo-Protestant from the Hamptons, thinking, like, what is he doing with this band?
You know, I think he just caught that wave. He just understood where Frankie was coming from and knew that he could create for Frankie. And it's a great question. Where there is some interest in the film for me is the connection among all of them and the reasons for what they do. And you hit on that with Bob. Bob, why are you putting up with this? Well,
yes.
If Bob doesn't have Frankie, and if Frankie doesn't have Bob, you're not going to have much. Together, they are dynamite. So that was my inference, but I think your suggestion is probably true, is that, let's flesh more of that out, please. Let me give more of that character, because Bob is as interesting as anybody.
Absolutely. He surely is. Well, another major flaw in terms of the character development is that when a tragedy happens in Frankie Valli's life, I really didn't care that much because I hadn't seen too much of the character involved in the tragedy, who pops in and out a couple of times very briefly, and so the tragedy didn't faze me too much.
Yeah, and I don't think, and because I think some of his life is well known, we can certainly disclose that his daughter dies of an overdose, and there is rich material waiting there. And it isn't mined at all.
It is not. Previous to that, all we saw was Frankie singing her a bedtime song once.
But Judy, I did see the stage production.
Which I did not.
Okay, and the stage production is lickety-split from beginning to end.
Is it?
Song after song after song. It's exhilarating, but it's even more superficial than you would have thought, just because it's all doo-wop and clicking the fingers and wearing those high school tuxedos and all this, and it's all of that very well done in the stage production. And I don't even know if I could get into here But I think the major difference between the two, as far as success goes, this will not be a great success for Clint Eastwood.
I agree with you.
I just think it's somewhere in the middle. I enjoyed it because I saw the stage production and because those songs were very important to me when I was growing up. But the stage production has an electricity that I think comes from the actual physical presence of those singers, as if we were at a nightclub watching them. I don't know if you can translate that. Certainly Chicago translates it, but it's a much richer production than this. Or Moulin Rouge, which is my favorite of all time. You know, that's really in the imaginative part. But there is a difference between the two, and it's odious to me to have to do that. Compare the two; they're different. Stage production, film. But if you're saying why isn't it as dynamite as the stage production, I've got to tell you, it's something about the physical presence.
Definitely. I kept wondering as I saw each of the musical numbers what it would look like three-dimensional. And hearing the sound in person. There just wasn't the animation of and the spirit of the Four Seasons in the group of actors, I didn't think. Their songs themselves are passionate. Cherry Baby, Walk Like a Man, Rag Doll. There's even in the sad songs there's passion, and I thought the passion was lacking.
All right. Well, Judy, we need to be passionate about the grades that we award to this film. And as my esteemed guest, you are going to be required to be the first one to award a grade to Jersey Boys, directed by Clint Eastwood.
Well, disappointingly, John, I'm going to give it a B-.
And Judy, I'm going to award it a B, hoping to be different from you, and because in the end I sat back and I listened to those songs and I watched those boys do a really good job, and I said, this is not a great film, but it's a film that I enjoyed. Anyway, you won't waste your time if you go to see Jersey Boys.
No, it is entertaining. I won't take issue with you on that.
But it is flawed.
It is flawed.
Perhaps like the lives of those boys themselves.